Check.
Time for
Brian, you
pod.
shifted. You're nowhere. There you are. Brian's got yellow sunlight in his eye.
I really do.
Time for
Check a 1 2. Check a 1 2.
Harsh.
time for D's pod.
Yeah, Film Vault. Welcome everyone to the Film Vault. That is Anderson. Sipping his water. That's me. Clearing my throat. Brian Bishop. We're your hosts for today. We're going to Flickfest a couple of assigned movies. Catching up with the Akira Kurosawa. Akira Kurosawa classic. As well as some other films.
Well, you can say Yojimbo. You don't have to just. He's got many classics, right?
It's true.
He's got a bunch. Yojimbo is what we'll finally be talking about. It's been a movie that has been bugging me for decades, Brian.
Well,
Just watch it. I kept saying, just watch it. And then I'm like, I don't have time to watch that. Too many other things that I got to watch. Yojimbo has been assigned and has been watched thanks to Eric Robbins. Thank you, Eric. Talked to Eric just today about the old Yojimbo.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dinner Rush also assigned.
Dinner Rush, yes.
We're not going to just 2 for 1 week.
It is 2 for 1 week, and thanks to Alan for assigning us Dinner Rush. I also talked to Alan just today. Horsari. I hope I said that name right. I hope I said his name right.
Is there another way to say Alan?
Alan Horsari.
Elaine.
Alien is what Alien Jorgensen went with from Ministry. Delightful fella. Love that. Alien Jorgensen. Aline. All right, yeah. Horsari. I believe that's how you say Alan. I talked to Alan. I never talked to Alan today. He's a new assigner, Brian.
All right,
and he's
welcome
been
aboard,
at
buddy.
the assigner level for a while. I'll be talking to him again later this year or early next year for his next assignment. But, yeah, he had us watch Dinner Rush, which I'm fairly confident in recommending.
Really?
Oh, what?
I mean, no.
What?
Interesting.
All right, so we'll get to that. As well as, what's your third movie, Brian?
If needed, I can break glass on a couple of films. I still want to save Lola to talk about with you.
Lola? I don't care about Lola.
I also have a documentary that I've seen recently, number 2 on my Sundance preview.
Why has he got to be so cryptic about
Does
everything?
it involve
Because I
music?
don't know if we need it.
I mean, you could say, I also saw this, and say the title of the movie instead of a documentary.
I saw Squaring the Circle, the story of hypnosis, on a recommendation of me because I'm very interested in this company, this organization, and secrets were revealed.
So you're doing some research for your own stuff.
No. What?
You said you're interested in it for you yourself.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I didn't research it for me. I had an interest in it. That's why it was number 2 on my Sundance preview.
Okay. All right. I got you. You know what? I should have done this way. I haven't. We'll pull it up, though, when we do later on this week. We're doing top 5 summer recap.
Yeah.
Need to pull up my list and squirm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My list, for once, very much in line with my my final results.
All right. Hey, we're also going to be talking about bottoms. At least Avery and I are, because Avery doesn't hurt the show. Avery helps the show. And Avery saw bottoms.
Amelia Earhart didn't do shit.
She did not. He was good.
He was amazing.
Yeah. All right. So,
And I hope you have some details on that because I heard a very interesting story about how he got involved in that project.
I would love to hear that because I know he's been in a couple things before. We're talking about the football player.
He's a very specific, Marshawn Lynch. He has a
Thank you.
very specific reason for having done that movie.
Oh, I'm excited to hear that.
He's almost making up for past mistakes.
We've been waiting for the last 15 minutes for Brian to feed his fucking dog, which is not a joke.
Yeah.
That's actually what was happening.
That's true.
While we sat here waiting in this kitchen.
Well, he set up all the equipment in the pod. So.
He did none of that. None of that.
I at least did that.
I begged him to plug in his camera. I don't think he even did that. Did he?
No, he handed me the cable and I plugged it into my.
And that's the wrong thing. He's not supposed to plug it into yours because then it doesn't work with
How
my
am I to
system.
know?
So we said he could have been feeding his dog while we were just starting the show with bottoms.
Certainly.
Well, that's on us. We should have
Yeah,
seen that.
that's true.
We should have rectified that.
Should have
situation.
rushed for the record button.
All right. No more superlatives to Brian's aimed at Brian negatively. Let's move on with the program.
Do you know what a superlative is?
It's like a word, an adjective.
It's a relative
right?
you really like.
Look at him! Look at him! Look at him!
I can tell you.
Oh my God, the hatred. They're like adjectives, but usually they're nice, right? It's like for puffing and. Oh, look at him!
The dismissive. No.
I walked into it by using the word, and I shouldn't have. I fucking shouldn't have. Hey, you know what? I know what a prick is. I know what that word means.
Tell me.
I'm looking around. Hey, and if you're watching on YouTube too, we still stream this show live.
That's right.
Not live. No, we stream it kind of live, but it's not on channels that you can tap
By
into.
the time
live.
you're there to
know
hear
what we
it.
should do? I should pipe out this live for our Patreon only audience.
Not bad.
And we still do the Flickfession episode. We put that up on YouTube every week, and then the top 5 is going to go just on the Patreon only. If I even think to do that, I got to tell you, the cameras in your face. I'm not in love with them, and it's a little bit invasion of privacy.
Really?
Right?
I forgot they're there.
I forget that they're too, but then I got to man them because you don't do shit.
It
So I
really
got to make
impedes
sure.
the locker room talk.
Yes.
No, I actively forget. Like I make myself forget
Because you have nothing to think about with them. Yeah, I'm the one who has to
forget about
adjust
these things.
So it's a headache. So
Hey, buddy,
we'll do
me and the list.
We'll do the top 5. Just it'll be more relaxed. You know what I mean? Less people looking. Right. All right. So that's the way it is moving.
The number of times we're going to forget to turn off the live stream in between pod.
That is true. That would set ourselves up for some disaster there. Yeah. I don't feel alive unless I'm living on the edge. I used to do that at Loveline too. Like I'm not going to get into the buttons, but like I would set it up so that if I didn't push the right button after the commercial was over, we had a 4-minute break. 3 times an hour. One time was a 5.5-minute break. It changed, but it was 4 minutes, usually 3 different breaks of at least 4 minutes. I would play music in-house, and that music was filthy, right? And I'd be playing it in-house. And if I didn't do the right switch over, that music would play on air, and I loved it. It was
risking
so much
your
fun.
job. Your own dead man switch.
Nicotina. I don't know if you know Nicotina, but he's a rapper from the Bay Area. Love that Nicotina. He bled through. I made a mistake, and for 15 seconds, we had Nicotina playing live on Loveline. And he's a rapper up there. He likes to use the N-word.
What?
You could have said rapper.
Is he a black man himself?
Got uttered 15 times on air.
That's once a second. That's pretty good.
One complaint. Only one complaint.
Like this show.
What's that? Only 15.
One N-word per second.
One N-word per second. Yeah. That's not. We're not talking about how many times you think the word, Brian.
Oh, I misunderstood.
All right, let's talk movies first. I got a question for Avery over
Yes.
This is that where Anderson makes that decision unilaterally.
Yeah.
We just all go along with it.
Okay, well, what would you like to do, buddy?
Fine with me.
Why don't you tell me what superlative means?
Like, in the yearbook when they would...
Avery,
Yes.
have you
like I
seen
walked into
Polite
that.
Society?
I have not. Her mom was in town all week, so I've not had a chance.
She might have liked it too.
Oh, wow. She's the white one, so.
Oh, she might not have liked it.
Yeah.
Talking about Polite Society, which didn't quite land. I didn't dislike it. It's just I didn't see what all the fuss was about. Okay. Time for a little fanflick.
Fanflick compiled by the Mitch Burns. Cody Horton on Facebook. You are so not invited to my bat mitzvah. Sunny Sadler is a promising young actress.
Is that just a missive sent to you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a movie that I've heard
Preemptively banned.
a couple things about.
Young actress, and the story is realistic, but there's a cruelty some characters face in this movie that didn't hit for me.
This is
Mixed
Sandler, right?
bag.
Sorry. Excuse me.
Sunny Sandler.
Yeah.
So, is that Adam Sandler's
It's the Sand Woman.
Spawn? Sand Woman? Sand Lady?
Yeah, Sand Lady.
Todd
Sand
Peterson.
gal.
Peterson. On Facebook, saw Equalizer 3. I thought it was a solid conclusion to the trilogy, didn't we all? Denzel was awesome as always. If there's ever a top 5 reprehensible villains, the dude in this one would easily make the top 5.
All right.
Which made the inevitable conclusion pretty damn satisfying. If you like the first 2 Equalizer movies, you'll like this one. I don't disagree with that. Tom Asiamon? Tomas Siama? I don't know. On Instagram, How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Well acted, written, and directed. It was to the point, but kept me on the edge of my seat. The flashbacks gave valid reasons for each of the people involved, and its messaging came across justified because of them.
Fun.
Devin Miller on Instagram. Bottoms. At the beginning, when all the cheerleaders and football players were wearing their uniforms at a school fair, I totally rolled my eyes. But then I realized it's an intentional parody of all those 80s and 90s high school movies with everything building up to the big game, quote unquote, against the rivals. Turns out to be a pretty funny movie with some heart. 3 out of 5. What in the fuck?
What?
3 out of 5?
That's what he gave that?
That's what he said.
Seems high. No, I'm joking.
Seems wrong, Devin.
Devin, you're seems like your eyes continue to roll a little too long, and you didn't look down enough to see what was coming. Yeah.
I don't know if he was not listening with his ears or seeing with his eyes.
This is at least a full star above Joyride, which is a very similar movie.
At least a full star above what he gave it. Tell you what.
Above
at least a full number above what he gave it.
Oh, yeah, I'd say that.
3 out of 5 is
yes, I would
insulting.
I would say, hey, quick correction. Jackie Sandler married to the Sandman.
Oh.
So it's Adam Sandler is also in your So Not Invited to the old bat mitzvah.
The Sand Spouse.
You're not invited to my bat mitzvah. All right. Where do we go from here? What do we do? Well, it's rare, Brian, that the top movie, the sexiest pick of the week has not been seen by you, but has only been seen by Avery and myself. So I don't know.
Equalizer?
So the sexiest pick, talking about the lesbian pick, talking about the lesbian movie. Oh, it's filthy, Brian.
What's that, Bottoms?
Brian,
It is.
this is a movie
filthy.
made for Brian. How much would Brian love this
He
movie?
would love it.
You would love this movie. What were you doing?
I was away all weekend. I'm going to do it again this weekend from Thursday to Monday. It's going to be a long weekend away.
What are you doing?
That means
I
a
was
short
on
week.
vacation.
On vacation.
Short week.
So you're on vacation.
Yep.
Now you're going on vacation again?
No, this is actually a work trip. I'm delivering the keynote speech at the American Brain Tumor Association's National Conference.
Some could argue that Bottoms is work.
Oh, sure. Can it be downloaded? Can I watch it on the airplane?
No, right. It's not that kind of movie. It's a new movie out in theaters now.
What doesn't know?
How many people did they go to before they landed on you?
I shudder to think, but I imagine it was a number. Did they ask you?
A number. They know I worked at a oncology camp for kids, so
I know.
they did come knocking.
You're qualified.
They did come knocking, but I said, sorry. Why don't you ask my buddy Brian? And that's how they came and found
And they're like,
you.
ugh.
Is this something you submitted for?
No, actually, I got the email and I was about to delete it. I was like because I get so many emails from all the charitable contributions I make. And I'm like, the APTA, I don't know what that is. And I was like, oh, this appears to be to me. This appears to be actually addressed to me. So I read it. I'm like, oh, I think it's a real thing. I had my wife read it. She said, yeah, you should do it. I'm like, all right, I'll reply. And this is going to make you upset. More upset than all the other stuff. They were genuinely excited that I replied and said yes. They're like, we didn't think you'd reply. I'm like, well, I did. And I'm excited. Thank you.
Did they think you were dead?
I think they were hoping that in the ensuing...
Were they very happy to hear that you've survived this long? Is that why they were so excited?
I think they had someone in the wings, just an understudy, if you will.
Brian just rolled, looked up to the heavens, and it just never happens, but his face was a little bit below the microphone, and I saw the cover, the book, the shrinkage cover for a half a second there. It was like, this looks so familiar. Oh, it's because it's Brian's face. What are you doing,
Brian didn't ask if you were starstruck.
Stop it. Now look up.
You recognize that?
You know who took that picture on the cover of
was it you?
the book? No, it was Mike Carano.
I was hoping it was Corona.
Mike Carano took that picture. Okay.
They confused and upset you so much when I got Carano hired for that gig.
Oh, it didn't?
Yeah, it did. I listened to the episode of After Disaster when it happened.
I don't recall that at all. That doesn't make sense.
You were talking shit about me in some way or the other, and Carano was like, "Hey, come to the gig, taking pictures."
Why would that upset me? I like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do.
Because you were confused. You wanted to hate me, but I did a good thing.
Oh, so I didn't know how to react. All right, we're doing bottoms now. Okay? I got to get you out of the picture, Brian.
You're being minimized away.
You can look over a little bit, like there. We'll see the side of it. There, you can see your hand. Okay, good. And then Avery, why don't you scooch in? Let's talk bottoms here.
I'm going to work on my speech.
Yeah, do that. Work on your speech. Okay. Here we go. Bottoms. Oh, wait. I was relying on Brian for this, and now I got to bring it up, and I got to do all the heavy lifting. Brian, I apologize for everything.
Yeah, normally I would take care of this.
Why don't you do the stuff that...
99% why am I seeing this?
Because you're a fool. You're an absolute... I was on vacation studying for my keynote and congratulating myself for emails.
My father died. I'll take care of it.
Okay, all right.
Bottoms. Written and directed by Emma Seligman and also Rachel Sano, Leah Sadu, I don't know, starring Rachel Sano, Ayo Edebiri, and Ruby Cruz, and the aforementioned Marshawn Lynch.
Yes. Oh, they're the team behind Shiva Baby. There you go.
Another reason you should have seen this.
Is it Shiva? Shiva?
Shiva.
All right. Yeah, Ruby Cruz kind of stole the show for me in a lot of ways. So
this was the loudest I've ever heard Nicole Kidman be received in a theater.
Really? Which
Yes.
theater? Yeah, we're talking local here, Southern California, AMC's. But she's getting a lot of responses in theaters that I'm not at.
Yeah,
I've never
yes.
seen it.
It was the Grove, and it was a pride-friendly crowd, as you could imagine, with Bottoms, and there was enthusiasm for the Kidman.
Yeah, I get nothing of that. I can hear the eyes rolling. I can hear them.
Do you not get the ironic applause?
None of it. No.
Oh, we got that sometimes.
No.
It might be a
mine
West
neck of
Side thing, honestly.
I think the West Side really deems themselves like cinephiles and moviegoers.
Yeah, it's
Well,
kitsch.
for a reason.
Okay, so Bottoms is the name of this movie. If you have not seen Shiva Baby, Sit and Shiva,
Shiva.
Yeah, Shiva Baby. We really liked
Shiva baby as in sugar baby.
Yes. We really enjoyed that when it came out last year, and Rachel crushed it in that, and it was like one of these like. She burst onto the scene. We're like, we're going to see more of this lady for sure. So this movie, Bottoms, is a story about two high school girls who are seniors or juniors, seniors. They're in the high school years, and they are lesbians. And they not only are they lesbians, that makes them unpopular at this school, but also it's because they're ugly and untalented.
Which was such a good through line.
Yeah, so that's why they're not. It's not just because they're lesbians. That doesn't make them
It's
unpopular.
because we're gay and untalented.
And ugly. Yeah, they kept throwing that in as well, right? And you realize how...
And I love the cut where you saw the gay guy who was talented and he was very popular. Everyone was like, oh my God, it's so good to talk.
The football players are like, you're crushing it in the play. It's popping. It's like, oh, thank you. And they're like, we just have no talent. We have nothing to offer these teenage
Society.
peers of ours, right? So so the storyline is this: like they don't have any friends, they have nothing going except for each other, and they decide to start a fight club, and they think that this will lead to them being able to get their fingers inside of other girls. Is the way they put it.
Point? Yes.
And we hear early on, before we even see Rachel, who plays PJ in this, we hear her voice talking very dirty about what she wants to do, but not in a lascivious way. It's just real matter of fact. Like,
yes.
Listen, we're going to do this. We're going to go to this party. We're going to dress like this, and we're going to be able to get our fingers inside of these. Like they're talking like boys,
Yes.
but they're as lesbians, right? Which was refreshing and new. And I don't know how accurate it was.
Yeah,
but it was funny. So that is the storyline.
I am into this.
It is satire all the way through, like was already suggested.
Yeah, and somehow more absurdist than just the description would suggest. When they smash cut, or when they cut to the classroom for the first time, it took me a while to realize that's not a dream sequence. There's literally a football player in a cage, and he's knocked out, so he's soft. You can't really make out who he is, and I kept waiting for every other movie would do like a punch in, right? And they're like, that'll come in later. Don't worry about that football player in the cage back there. Yeah, and it took me about 5 minutes to go, oh shit, this is the tone.
Yeah.
This is just literally anything could happen in this movie.
I was bracing myself a few times in this movie that she was going to wake up. And I'm like, please don't do the cliche. Please don't do the trope. And they didn't. They committed every single time.
Because with it going that wacky, it made me nervous where I thought, oh, are they going to be able to hold on to this tone the entire time and let it go this far off the rails and keep it together?
And they did, and they were able to, and I think it's mainly because of the strength of the two leads were so good. And you realize that early on that lesser movies with lesser actors are just getting the punchy Juno-like words out there, right? Like it's kitschy and it's funny, and they know it's funny, and you can tell that they've memorized their lines. There is a real natural read from both of these, the two leads.
Yeah, well, they apparently have done a ton of sketch comedy together. So they're very longtime friends and collaborators. So that really comes across that they have that familiarity and trust each other and really play well off of each other.
Came through because they felt natural. It felt like these were friends and they were actually true. And as ridiculous as the movie is, the tone of the movie is. All right, it's as ridiculous as this, Brian. That's what we should be doing, is selling Brian, but it doesn't need a sale.
I was going to say, I'm yawning over here.
Remember the first act of Beau's Afraid and how absurd it was?
No.
God damn it. Okay, let's cut Brian out of this.
But he didn't see Beau is Afraid.
This is bad
He
because
doesn't see movies.
There's no one to talk movies.
He doesn't see movies.
All right, so I was thinking that while I was watching Bottoms. It's like if a couple of high school girls, like every fear or how they actually saw the high school world, like every time they see a football player, they probably imagine him in his annoying little outfit. You know what I mean? It was similar to Beau is Afraid, like what was going on inside of his head.
Yes.
Like if he watched Fox News or local news and believed every single threat and fear of tactic that is directed towards him. But they're not playing victims like Bo was, right? These girls are just like, this sucks. We want to fix this. What do we
Let's
do?
get out of it. How do we?
So
honestly, for me, I think Marshawn Lynch stole the show because he acts as the proctor for their club, the adults signing off on this.
he's their teacher. In what was that? Is it history? Like what is he even teaching?
It made no sense. It was just, I mean, it was just class. It was like social studies. And just him going through his own midlife crisis and how he related to the women and the lesbians was very entertaining. Just that interchange where at first he's very supportive in the talk of being an ally and all that. And then this is not a spoiler, but he's sort of
kind of like he goes through some arcs. And ups and
a
downs
bit of
with
when
them.
he turns on him a little bit. It's just very funny that him crossing off on his whiteboard and went, man, who invented like feminism? It was like man or nobody or something like that.
When he turned on them, yes, he stopped being an ally.
Yeah, or he just writes on his whiteboard, why all presidents have been men and it should stay that way.
There's a lot of little throwaway fun
Very
things
good.
like that. And they're not afraid of taking chances and being reckless and irresponsible. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, there's a girl walking around with like a blow up AK-47 at a party. When you're making a movie today about a high school, even if it's a comedy, like I'm surprised that nobody said, hey, you know what? That's too far.
Oh, cunt is being bandied about?
Cunt is fine because it doesn't really hurt people, but I mean, they're
But it's
talking
still
about
jarring for
bombing,
people to hear.
bombing like other people, like
At
kids'
the school.
cars at the school.
That's a running joke of bombing.
They got a guy who's like, that's the last straw, and he's gonna he starts making it like how to bomb the school.
Sure.
That's like,
He's having a fine time at lunch. He's bullied for like 2 seconds and then just crosses out what he was saying and he goes, new plan, blow up the school.
it's a movie for people who like comedy and yeah, you're out.
Very irreverent. Took a lot of chances.
I really like
A lot of chances.
I like this Bottoms a lot, and it was satisfying all the way through to the end. They took a whole lot of chances.
I was surprised it stuck the landing.
And parts of it, this movie in the wrong hands with the wrong leads. I keep saying
Horrible
this about
and annoying.
yeah, but this movie could have easily fallen off to one side or the other, and it stayed in right down his lane where it belonged. And you're right, it just hit the tones for me.
Yeah, this might have. It's hard to say, but this might have even topped Barbie for me. It shares a lot of similar feminist DNA. It's almost like Barbie meets Superbad in some ways in terms of the tone.
Or Joyride, which came out earlier this year, which is about women acting badly as well. A little Bridesmaids, you can't not think of that. But I was talking to actually my buddy Robert earlier today. Not important who I was talking to, but Barbie came up and how it didn't quite hit. What am I doing? But I said, you know what? Like Bottoms hits on a lot of the same things, but doesn't find itself quite as.
It's the rated R version. It's grittier. It takes more chances. I loved Barbie, but
Barbie's a different kind of comedy,
it's a different
for sure.
movie.
But I think
it's more broad. It's for a broader audience.
Easy.
Clearly,
Broad.
this was really just going for the throat. I loved it.
You know what this is too? It's like a movie that's not made for you and I necessarily, but there's a lot of stuff in there. Dudes going to see a movie, and that's what women have been dealing with forever, right? Like it's a movie made for dudes with some stuff in there. Maybe for some some girls get some stuff in there. That's what Bottoms is, but it totally works. It's so well done.
And what I like too is the way they lampooned straight guys was totally. With Barbie, it was very specific and well written and thought out and sort of elaborate. With this, it was so basic, but it was funny. Like men were reduced to just their essential elements of just we are muscular. Literally, you'll just have scenes of men like will cross to the camera and go, "I have big muscles."
Yeah.
That's
like
it.
he picks up his girlfriend and goes, "I am so strong."
Yeah, it's great.
And it's essentially like how women have been depicted for not so much the last 10 years, but
Bechdel test.
yeah, it is.
But those actors are doing it so well. Like you guys always say, you have to be smart to play dumb. It's the same kind of thing here where it's done so well, the type of jock douchebaggery, because they're not given a ton of lines to work with, so they really have to sell the stupid things they're saying, and they say it in such a believable way that it's funny.
Yeah.
The guy's really just, I feel strong today.
It's actually 95%. I'm a little less interested in that.
I don't know who wouldn't like this movie unless it's offensive to some people, which I could see it being offensive, not for everyone with the language being so close.
I loved the scene where she came in and was telling the girls what Fight Club was about and what it is and what it isn't.
Now, how true to Fight Club was that? Was she just lifting lines
No,
from Fight
she was
Club?
doing her own she was doing her own thing.
There might have been somewhere she was just lifting lines. So I haven't seen Fight Club in a while.
I love she just slamming her broom on the ground, going, "All right, listen, cunt suckers."
The 6-year-old just left the.
Well timed.
Left the kitchen.
Right.
The things we put up with for you, Papa.
I appreciate it.
Come all the way, sit in traffic, sit here, wait you, watch
there's no
watch you.
traffic.
What? Oh, there's tons
Holiday
of.
week.
It was
holiday
gridlock,
week.
right? It took me an hour and 5 minutes to
No
get
one's
here.
on the road.
Watch you feed your dog, and then right when we're talking about a very inappropriate movie, and we want to yell like a cunt because that's what's said in the movie. Your 6-year-old wanders in and watches us.
My
She was just
windows are
watching
down,
over our
so
shoulder.
I'd appreciate if you didn't.
No, Brian, you're gonna love this movie.
It's
You're
great.
absolutely gonna
It's
love
a crisp
Bottoms.
90 minutes. Goes down
smooth, super fast.
I'm looking at my local theater to buy tickets. Unfortunately, it's not playing there, so I got tickets for Blue Beetle. So,
Yeah, that's smart.
Oh, I felt bad walking out of the theater
Blue
last
Bottoms.
night because Blue Beetle.
I have not had this much fun at a theater in a long time. And you have to. I think you have to see it in theaters,
Why
preferably
is
soon,
this?
because the full.
the hell am I
For me, the full audience really helped.
My audience was a
land it.
dud. No one was laughing.
Oh,
Where
that's a
am I gonna
bummer.
see
Yeah, I
this?
heard a little bit of snickering here and there, but no one was like really laughing out
Oh,
loud.
it was joyous.
Also, it was like that theater. Like they're so. It's so funny because movies are all about the collective experience, and the George Miller said it's all it's a collective dream that you have with strangers.
Spielberg. No.
It was George Miller, and don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure it was George Miller. And now, like with these new AMC theaters and like the Dolby theaters, it's all about like getting you like the road. You can't even see anyone in front of you or
You're
behind
alone
you, which
together.
is kind of nice. But
It's-
you're alone
it's odd.
together, watching a movie where like you could watch it alone at your house, and the screen's not as big and the sound's not as big. But there's home theaters now more so than ever.
Sure.
Yeah. And it works well for some. Like
The home theaters are better than the movie theaters we grew up with.
yeah.
Oh
For the
yeah,
most part.
that's for sure.
But I think for comedy, it definitely does. It can rob some of that shared
Yeah,
experience.
I would have liked to have seen it where a bunch of people are laughing at the right times, which was throughout. There's so many
Oh,
opportunities.
it was
to
great.
laugh.
There was like an entire row of gay guys behind me who were really loving the movie,
man.
and we're just talking back and forth, but in a fun way, good way between jokes, and it was good. It just contributed to it.
I'm stuck. I'm a little bit isolated out there where I live on the North Valley, and to come over the hill just to get that experience. It's right down the street for you guys. You guys
Yeah.
live like in LA, where the douche cinephiles
That's right.
all congregate,
The gays.
which is great. It's great for
Yep.
opportunities like this. Douche cinephiles. Like there's only room for so many douche cinephiles in
Don't
my
like
life.
douche in the files.
And like I'm happy that I have the North Valley
North
covered
Valley covered
myself. Yeah.
They go, oh, here comes Andy.
Speaking of douche cinephile, I need to do a push, and I'm going to be doing this much more so over the next 4 to 5 weeks. But loadedforbeardoc.com, big things in the work,
Oh,
Brian.
really?
And big things with the short that we're going to be shooting with
Big Short.
with our guys. A Big Short, yeah, and it's coming together, and I can't say specifics, but it's going to be.
Say specifics.
I can't say.
It's your show.
I'm not allowed to say who's in it because of the agreements, but it's going to be SAG-AFTRA.
Is it me?
It's not Brandon.
Oh,
Approved. We have actors that you will recognize, that you will know. They're
Yeah,
going to be in
I'm
this
excited
thing.
for this.
I have them working. I'm going to have them sharing scenes with my Born Act players. I'm building out sets. It's the real deal. Like we're doing a real good short as a proof of concept, proof of work
Nice.
for the feature that I want to shoot, which is all about the little guy getting vengeance on the big guy and people at the top, just treating the people at the bottom in their companies. People with no creativity at the top, just working, grinding people down.
Right.
That
But they're the villains?
the people at the top are the villains.
Okay,
Brian.
I'm
I
not
know it's
interested
hard
in
for
this
you to
project.
understand this.
I can't really stand behind this.
But if you would like your name to be associated and like get in on this like early, and we need it now because it's keeping me up at night. Like, why we got to move forward. I have to move forward. We're so close. We're going to be shooting in about 6 to 7 weeks. If you would like to be involved, Loaded for Bear Doc shows you the documentary we're making, which you will help make, and then this is a big part of it, making the short within the documentary, which will be documented by myself and Mike Carano along the way. So building out the sets, rehearsing, all that stuff is going to be in this documentary for this short, which hopefully leads to the narrative feature.
All right.
A lot of stuff in the works, but we need help to get this going. Also, it is like a 501c3. It's through Entertainment to Affect Change. So your money that you contribute will be considered a tax write-off. But talk to your CPA or tax
Yes,
professional.
verify with the authorities.
But Loaded for Bear doc, we'll have it in the show notes if you would like to get in now, because we need the help now. A lot of you listening have already given. And you were part of groupers back in the day. We're doing this is much different, but yeah, look for more on that coming forward. I need to do that at the top of the shows, Brian.
This is the top.
Yeah,
First half hour.
First half hour. Yeah,
Top-ish. Oh, one last thing about Bottoms. So Marshawn Lynch, the reason that they convinced him to sign on and why he was so motivated to do this, apparently he is a sister who came out, and he did not handle that well. It was very ugly. He handled it very poorly. And this was sort of his attempt to make up for that and make good on that and sort of redeem himself and be an ally in this, where he apparently really did not do a great job of that first run through with his sister.
That is a great way
so
to
it makes
apologize.
it even better where he's the fact that he was in this movie, because he nails it
way better. Like that makes it, because you can tell, like, I'm not a football guy. I knew that he was an athlete. I recognize his name, but I've never seen him other than maybe the Super Bowl.
And it's very random that he's in it, and you'd think why. And I love that he was very motivated to do this.
That is like the greatest way to apologize for being a shithead.
Isn't it? Being homophobic.
There are few modern athletes I've hated as much as Marshawn Lynch, so I'm excited to see him redeem himself.
Yeah.
Why did you hate him so much?
Oh, well, I'll tell you, Anderson. He went to Cal
sorry I asked.
and talked a lot of shit and never beat USC. And then he played for my rivals, the 49ers rivals, Seahawks.
Okay.
And then he lost me a fantasy championship with that epic run that everyone knows for a touchdown.
He was also black.
That's down the list, Avery. It's like fourth.
Avery, just because you're a black man doesn't mean that you can egg him on like that, okay? And if you're going to, I feel like you need to sound blacker. If I may.
Hey.
Yeah.
So he's a
He's also a black man. Marshawn Lynch was so good. He did such a good job as the literal straight man in this.
And the only because all the football players are kind of gay and swishy too.
Which is very funny the way
they're all like the entire cat. It feels like Election at times. It definitely has the same kind of, but it's not, way more absurd than Election.
Sure.
Everyone all of the teenagers are flamboyant.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah,
like they're all drama. They're all drama kids, and that's like a choice.
But I'm a cheerleader.
Oh yeah, it pairs nicely with but I'm a cheerleader. Yeah, I'm glad that we just saw them. We were talking about how how well that movie would do today. I really hope that this Bottoms.
I hope it does well. And Punky Johnson as the lesbian Yoda was very good.
Yeah, she has
very good.
She has a cameo, and she's great.
Who's Punky Johnson?
She's a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
Amongst other things, but the outtakes at the end were
great.
Fun. Yeah.
Which they need to bring those back. I miss outtakes at the end of comedies. They're great.
Yeah,
in the credits.
They have them quite a bit.
Do they? I feel like I haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah, we're gonna do terrorism. That's what we're gonna do. Okay. I want to watch this one again.
I need to see this. I need to run out and see this.
And Ruby Cruz. Ruby Cruz. I'm not familiar with Ruby Cruz or AO. The two. It's a two-hander, but AO.
She's in Mayor of Easttown. Apparently, is what she would be known for. Ruby Cruz.
And Willow, the TV series. I've not seen her before, to my knowledge, and she was great. She stole a lot of the scenes that she was in, and really liked her. She was also very natural. All these kids.
Yeah,
were just,
Kaya Gerber was great. The girl playing the super hot chick was very funny, because that can often be done poorly.
Yeah,
and she nailed it. She nailed the tone.
All right, we're probably overselling this a little bit, but this is a solid 4.5.
Guys, I'm here to tell you it's not that good. I'm going to help you out.
What's that?
Help you out with the overselling.
Oh, okay. You'll let us know later. Okay. All right. Okay, Brian.
You sold me.
Let's take a quick break here.
What for?
To get to the business at hand.
All right, we got a couple of signed movies coming up from listeners already been alluded to. So after this, look at those next. Welcome back, Anderson. You want to talk Dinner Rush or you want to talk Yojimbo?
I could talk either, Brian. I'll leave it up to you because I just talked a whole lot. Can I say some more things about
Bottoms? Yes.
Bottoms, yeah. Nicholas Galitzine
Winding
as
Refn.
Jeff
Was great.
was great.
Jeff
Yes.
was brilliant.
I want to go and see all of Nicholas's stuff.
Pineapple juice. Eat a bag of dicks, Karen. He says pineapple.
That was in the outtakes. You're doing outtakes.
But he
now.
did another one too. He said something. The outtakes of him running those, that was great.
He was really, really good there. Yeah, it's so much fun. All right, go out and enjoy Bottoms, everybody. Bottoms.
Glorious.
Bottoms.
Please stop screaming on my window.
Triumphant.
Let's go worst to first.
No, I can't do that because these movies are incredibly different, Brian.
They're very different.
And as much as I like Bottoms, I can say that I like the other two movies that we saw this week. They get the same star rating from me.
Really?
I love them.
Okay.
What don't you like? What's going on with you?
Let's get into it.
All right.
Dinner Rush
Oh.
is a film from 2000, directed by Bob Girardi. More on him later. Starring Danny Aiello, this fucking son, Eduardo Ballerini, Kirk Acevedo,
Whose son?
Jamie Acevedo, Kirk Acevedo, Jamie Harris, Mark McGlone, Summer Phoenix, Vivian Wu, Sandra Bernhard, and John Corbett. 91% Rotten Tomatoes. You can rent this. Girardi.
It's available for free on Freevee right now with ads.
I
think that's brand new because I rented it last week.
So Girardi, the director, Bob Girardi, he himself I found more interesting than the movie itself. Bob Girardi's a real interesting guy. He's a prolific commercial director. Did you research him at all?
No, Brian.
Well, he's a prolific commercial director. He directed the infamous Michael Jackson Pepsi video. Michael Jackson's
Where he
hair
got
caught on
his
fire.
Little hair on fire.
That's right. His Wikipedia reads like a press release, so I have to assume he or somebody wrote it. He's also a prolific restaurateur. Many restaurants in New York he helped found and finance over the years. I even recognized a couple of them. And here he is making a movie about a restaurant.
Okay.
Shot in one of his restaurants.
Oh, it was.
Yes, it was.
I did not know that. What did you think of the actual movie? So the movie takes place like pretty much all in one night. There is an opening scene, an inciting incident where one of the owners is the kindly older owner. One of the partners is he meets an untimely fate.
Yes, in broad daylight.
Yes, in New York, and then
in the only empty street in New York.
Danny, are you? I can't tell what you're doing here. And then Danny Aiello, who is like the sole surviving owner, he takes over, and then the rest of the movie takes place, I think, 6 months later, and it's one night in this very, very trendy, popular restaurant where Danny Aiello and his he has a son who's the head chef at this restaurant, and then there's all sorts of things happening in all the back in the kitchen. We get to see back there. We see things at the various tables.
It's the poor man's the menu.
What does that mean?
I mean, like you get like the backstory of a lot of these characters, and like you're let in on who they are and what they're doing there. But it's not. It doesn't pop.
I want to think the menu at all with this
Really?
one. Yeah, I mean, other than
People
there's
in
food.
a restaurant.
Yeah, but I mean that's all like a setup and like a more
You're right.
like a
It's a very
whodunit
different
and,
movie. I'm not
I would
trying to
much more Boiling Point, which came out. I think we did that last year with the Oneer with Stephen Graham. Very similar in that sense, where there's a lot going on. There's all these different tables and storylines and conflicts. And
am I alone in thinking Boiling Point's a much better movie?
You don't like Dinner Rush.
Dinner Rush was okay.
Okay, this is interesting when this happens because every now and again we really don't line up. I really, really enjoyed Dinner Rush.
Do you have nostalgia?
I wanted more Dinner Rush. Like I was watching the clock and kind of upset that it was ending because for the most part, I liked every single storyline. Mark Margolis, who you may know from, most people probably know him as the bell ringing, wheelchair bound. Father of what was his name in Breaking Bad?
Right.
Breaking Bad. What's his name? What was that kid? The character. Anyways, Mark Margolis. You know his face. He's that guy. He's a character actor, and I'd never seen him play like this. He was the art critic in this one. Brian.
Yeah, he was great.
Every storyline, for the most part, except there was like a love story that actually I didn't really care that much about with the love triangle going on. But I really they had enough food porn, just enough food porn in there.
There was a good amount of food porn.
There was, and I could see him, the director, doing food
Oh, yeah.
commercials, probably for sure. The bar patrons were great. They're very satisfying ending. The worst part by far for me was the score. The score was overwrought. It was dated, and it didn't really bring much to the table, especially all these years later.
Okay, it felt a little bit sloppy. It felt poorly written, and it also felt like if you have nostalgia, which I think you do, if you have nostalgia for 90s indie cinema, like this scratches that itch. Unfortunately, it comes after that wave had crested. Like we're moving on at this point to like a different era of film, but like this feels like a film that's 5 years late, if that makes sense.
I mean, I'm not watching it in that context. I'm watching it. Is it a good story? Are there good characters?
But the characters,
is it satisfying? It's all
the
of those things
characters
for me.
are decent. The story is stupid because, okay, characters make ridiculous choices throughout this movie. I'm not going to give away too much, but
Well, they're impulsive cooks and chefs, and like I think that kind of comes with the territory. I didn't have a problem with that at all.
and the ending, I guess, do you want to call it a twist ending? Whatever happens at the end, the reveal,
It's a satisfying ending.
felt a little tacked on, felt a little like obligatory.
No, I liked it. I
Really?
didn't have a problem with that at all. I thought that it wrapped it all up in a nice, convenient bow, but I didn't see it coming. I don't think you saw it coming. And it was satisfying for everything that was going on. Now, a lot of the themes in this are like old school versus new school, and like the old gentleman.
I like the conflict between the dad and the son. I got to do more of that.
Aiello's like Danny Aiello comes from the old school. Like, he's probably like first generation, gangster mafia in New York, or one of the first generations. And he's they're being overtaken by the new generation, which were much more violent. And you got these guys that are up in the balcony who are threatening to take over the business, and you demanding it essentially, and blackmailing, not even blackmailing, just extorting them. For money. And Aiello's got doing that thing where it's like, my day we were much more, you had respect, and you
Civilized,
had you had merit and honor, and there's none of that with these kids today. And it's 23 years ago now, so
Yeah.
but
It
no,
just felt, I don't know, overwrought.
I'm surprised. Overwrought
And
was
it's
what I
not-
put for the score
Oh,
for
really?
sure.
It's not a bad movie. It's uninspired. You know what I mean?
I don't agree. There's a
middling.
lot going on.
It's
too.
mid, as the kids
There were
say.
so many extras that you had to like have looking realistic and doing things, and it was just the pace was really good too. It went down smooth. I'm really surprised that you didn't like this. I thought for sure you would have liked
It's
it.
not even that I didn't like it. I like certain parts of it. Overall, I found it uninspired. And I feel bad. I feel bad when it's a listener assignment because someone loves this movie.
Well, no,
and I didn't see it.
Alan saw it. He just caught up with it fairly recently, I think, and he really liked it, and he thought it was good. And I'm glad that he assigned it, because it was annoying while I was watching. I'm like, how did I not see this when it came out? And I probably just skipped it
I'm
because
glad I
I'm
know about
I'm
him
not a giant Aiello fan. I don't love him, and it looked like here we go. Like,
Why do you hate the man?
maybe to your point, I'm like, here we go with a another indie 90s feeling movie. It's got that the one kid who I don't love from the Michael McClone.
Oh, yeah. He's from Brothers McMullen. And probably best known now as the Geico pitchman guy.
But it's satisfying, and I really enjoyed this movie. So I think it depends on whose taste you come down on, and which side you come down on. But if you do tend to like respond to movies that I am pretty high on, I'm pretty
It's
high
funny
on this
'cause
one.
It feels like the kind of movie I would like more than you.
I know. I thought for sure you would have loved this one. It just went down smooth. Have a nice meal with it. Watch the conflicts unfold. I didn't love his son, and I think I would have liked the movie more if I liked his son, the lead guy. I kind of wanted to punch him in the face throughout most of the movie.
That character
But that
could
was
have been
part- maybe
that
you're supposed
character could have been more though, because as the chef, the star chef, right, who wants to like reinvent this restaurant and is making food that's getting noticed by the elite, at least in New York. That's a big deal. And his conflict is being beholden to his dad and the restaurant traditions. That's an interesting storyline. I just didn't feel that was.
He already
Flushed out at all.
at this point he had already broken off. He had made his decision, and he was running with it, and he was doing great for it. His dad wasn't saying you got to come back. He was giving him some shit like, hey, this isn't food,
But
like
it was
these
a
small
conflict
portions.
with it. Maybe the conflict should have been more like, hey, leave my restaurant alone. Hey, this restaurant has been relevant in 20 years. That would have been an interesting.
There was a little bit of that in there. There wasn't room for that entire arc with everything else that was going
They
on.
could've
I think
gotten
maybe
rid
it
of
spoke to
himself.
my ADD too,
Could
because
have gotten rid of himself.
a lot of the time, like it's like towards like the middle part of the movie or like the end of the second act, I'm like, all right, where are we going? And it didn't really have that got structure with this one. Like you couldn't see what was coming next. I didn't know which table they're going to next.
Also, at the risk of giving too much away, much like I brought this up before, tiptoeing on the line of spoiler for this 23-year-old film. Do you think?
I hate that excuse.
Do you
I fucking
think there's?
hate that.
I'll just say the rule. I've identified this. The rule of someone who's way too big for the small role they're in. All of a sudden, they're like at the end, they're revealed to be the linchpin.
Important, yeah.
Yeah, like Melissa Leo was the one that I said in Prisoners. Like, why is Melissa Leo doing this tiny role? Oh, it made sense at the end. Like, there's a little bit of that going on here, which I'm not going to
He managed to spoil Prisoners, too.
He just kind of, I mean, watch this one, guys, and try and ignore everything you just heard from Bryan. It's absurd. Plus, I want to call that guy like a big actor. What are you doing?
Oh, he's one of the most famous faces in the movie.
Okay.
He or she.
All right,
let's throw him off the set.
Yeah, really. Well done, Bryan.
Them.
They are one of the most famous faces.
There were some fun camera angles here as well, where it's like high and tight, which I appreciated. Yeah. And I was trying to figure out, like, is this because the actual restaurant didn't afford them the appropriate place to put the camera, or are they getting creative and artistic here?
That's interesting. Do you think the movie should have been slicker?
I didn't mind it being shot in an actual on location. I thought that fit.
I didn't mind that
tone.
either. I'm saying this director, Girardi, is a celebrated, legendary advertising
You're so hung
director.
up on the director, which is rare.
But I'm
for
saying to make a
Well,
gritty
he celebrated.
to make a gritty movie like this, it just didn't feel authentic. I don't know.
It felt authentic to me. I don't know what. Were you? I'm really surprised you didn't like. Were you thrown off by? It wasn't a great transfer. It was like 4-3.
I didn't think it was bad.
I think it was a fourth. Was it box? It was, right? It was a 4-3, like the black on the sides.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, it wasn't a great transfer. Didn't take away from the story and from the way it moved.
What do you think of this?
Loved it.
What was it on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, it's high, 91%.
So you liked it?
You know what? I'm coming around on this movie actually now. I haven't discovered that.
Look at the 91 for another 3 seconds,
I gotta
and then look at do that
I'm gonna
thing.
quote Anderson. Say, I might like this movie. I might love this movie.
I could possibly love this thing. By the time everything's said and done.
This is a top 5 old new movie.
Oh, look at that poster, though. I mean, the poster just makes it look goddamn awful. It says dinner in red, Rush right below it in white, and it's got a picture of Danny Aiello holding the wine glass as though he's going out for Goodfellas.
Looks like your dad would see it and go, "Fuck yeah!"
I think.
Yeah, my dad would. Yeah, people's dads would love it. And then there's a pistol at the bottom, like a cartoon pistol with smoke coming up.
pistol,
Yeah.
It looks
Anderson,
god
you're
awful.
ignoring willingly all the red flags for this movie.
The poster does not do the movie justice at all.
I think it's entirely indicative of what the movie is.
Tell that to your 91% critics over there on go worship at the altar and tell them why
It's
they're
5.
wrong.
It's 5 out of 6. It doesn't add up.
No, it does not. It's 9 out of 10.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. Let's move on then. If you're gonna be a jerk, let's talk a little.
Sorry, Alan. I wish I liked it more. I didn't hate it. I definitely did not hate it, but I didn't respond in the way maybe you wanted me to. Sorry, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad.
Don't
You know
feel
what?
bad.
I love this movie.
Don't feel bad. You've hated movies that people have assigned us. It's all right.
That's true.
You don't
That
hate
is
this
true.
one.
I don't
You're
hate
just
this
wrong about this. You just don't appreciate it as much as you should.
Objectively wrong.
It is rare that I'm looking at my watch going, I want more. I don't want this thing to end. That's how it went down so smooth, Bryan.
It's okay.
I'm overselling it. You're underselling it. It's somewhere in the middle. Give yourself watch like the first couple scenes in this one. It's free on Freevee.
Should we do a spoiler for this? Spoiler edition?
Oh, we can. Yeah.
The ending is absurd.
We'll do a spoiler. All right.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yojimbo!
Hey, Yojimbo!
It's a 1961 film directed by Akira Kurosawa. It's 95% Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, it's 4% better than Dinner Rush. Take that to the bank.
I liked it a little more. It's streaming on Max or on the Criterion channel. Anderson, what did you think of Yojimbo?
I liked A Fistful of Dollars a whole lot more.
It's funny. I did no research before watching this, and as I'm watching this, I'm like, man, this reminds me a lot of a Clint Eastwood movie. Turns out it's. I didn't realize
It's infamous.
Fistful of Dollars is a pretty direct remake.
An unofficial direct remake, which was held up in litigation, and there was lawsuits, and there was out of court settlements that occurred, and
Brian was right. A lot like a Clint Eastwood
a
movie.
lot like a particular Clint Eastwood.
You're really like.
Yeah, so Yojimbo, like pretty much every single Kurosawa film film that I see it's fantastic. It's just great. It's like
It's-
it's angerifying that I have not seen it my entire life.
I kept having to remind myself that this is not tropey. This established all the tropes.
This is exactly that.
If you
right?
watch
You're
it for the first time in 2023, you're like,
I've seen this
oh,
shit.
the samurai wandering. Oh, that's actually where they started.
right. Without these movies in particular and what Kurosawa did back then, like we might not have Star Wars, but we definitely don't have Star Wars the way that we have it, right? It's so much of the Jedi comes from these movies, these samurai movies. And I think that this is one of the greatest examples of that. So the story is just a stranger, samurai, who's real badass with his sword.
A man with no name.
Wanders into this small little village. You've seen
I have. It's been a while. I saw it over COVID, so probably in 2020. But I remember loving it. I thought it was great.
and he sees these two warring factions, essentially two gangs live in the same town. You'd think that one of them would just pack up and move down the road or something. Why they?
It's a lot of room.
Like there's 100 yards in between their dwellings. That's it. And
yet they're constantly feuding.
And he meets
The only one making money is the casket maker.
the casket maker, and he's hanging out with the casket maker and trying to figure out his angle and how he's going to use these two warring factions against each other to get rich himself. He's a mercenary.
He just shows up at the only eatery in town. He's like, old man, make me food.
Yeah. And early on, we see that it's going to be a fairly bloody movie with the dog wandering after a battle. The dog wanders towards the samurai, and he's holding a hand in his mouth. Now, I've seen that before, right? I've seen
It's
in
been
another
parodied,
movie. I
yes.
feel like it's been parodied or
referenced.
homaged.
I think in a Clint Eastwood film. Anyway,
Homage.
good.
So
Gran Torino. He's got
That's
his foot
right.
in his mouth.
I've seen movies with
Gran
samurai.
Turismo.
Am I crazy? And I'm not a big samurai, aficionado by any means. I'm not a fanatic.
What do you
but,
want to know?
The thing that the gi that they
Yep,
wear, right?
yep.
Yes.
The robe.
Is it customary to have one arm inside, or sometimes, many times, both arms inside, like you do when you're a teenager and you forgot to bring your jacket and you're out on a hillside with a girl?
I don't think it is because the only one who did that was the bad guy, right?
No, they both did. Yeah, wow. Brian doesn't watch movies anymore.
Stop it.
The entire movie, our protagonist is constantly scratching his chin with
From
his arm
inside the robe?
Yeah, that's who I saw do it throughout the whole movie. And then the bad guy shows up with the stripes, and he's got the pistol,
Okay,
and
yes,
he's got it
yes.
inside as well. But
I fell
think
asleep
that
a
must
couple
have been
times during the
customary.
film.
It must have been. I can't imagine it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Maybe it was cold.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was a nice. It was like, if I'm not doing battle, this is how I wear
I'm
my
relaxed.
gi, and I got my hand inside, and he was eating that way. So okay. There are scenes in here that I think also played towards the Gangs of New York. I think was being homage.
I saw a few Tarantino references.
Well, Tarantino didn't do Gangs of New York.
Right, but I'm saying this has ripple effect throughout film history.
There's a giant, if you recall, Avery.
Vaguely.
He was on one of the warring sides. And that's cool too. Like both sides are despicable, and you hate them both just for being so machismo.
Yes.
And
There's only one person to root for.
it can't even really root for him either, right? There's maybe the
Hey.
casket maker.
I was gonna say law of elimination.
So, I was talking to Eric just today, and he was talking about how there wasn't much blood, and I actually wrote down at one point it's fairly bloody for back then. I
I would say so.
There was-
In terms of actual gallons spilled, probably not that much, but in terms of like violence, yeah, for 1961.
Yeah, in Japan, yeah. So they're constantly going back and forth. The casket makers, having his time. The samurai is making his money, and he's working both sides, being the best version of a mercenary you can imagine. And then the inspector comes into town, and everyone has to like pause and be cool. And that was like a really fun scene. That
That's
was
right.
like towards the middle of the movie.
What do they call not the inspector? The something.
He was the inspector.
Was it?
Yeah.
They called him something.
And he pauses everything.
Yeah.
This is just a classic movie. It's one of the best Kurosawa movies I've seen, and that says a lot. Like Rashomon's probably still my favorite. I love seeing things from the different angles and all that. But Ron is great, of course. Seven Samurai, and Yojimbo is like up there. It's Hidden
That's
Fortress.
interesting because my thought was that Yojimbo, while really enjoyable and really good and really influential, was one of the lesser movies I've seen from Kurosawa. Now, granted, I haven't seen that many, but I didn't I liked High and Low a lot better. That's
Yeah.
just me.
Very different movie, but yeah.
Very different.
Yeah, as far as his samurai movies, I would say that this is, right up there.
Although I might have liked this more than Hidden Fortress.
Hidden Fortress is a little more rough around the edges. Still think about the gold being hidden in plain sight, though. I love that. Yeah, but
the movie is framed impeccably. Like, this is a real showy movie, like camera work wise, and it looks great.
it might be my favorite Toshiro Mifune, that the lead, the samurai.
Oh, okay.
He was so just confident and you want to be taken care of by that guy. Like, you want him on your side. You'll give him any amount of money that he wants. I love how confident he is when he's like, when they're offering like three gold shillings. He's like, it's got to be at least double that with a zero in the end. He just walks away.
And they're like, they want him on their team, right, to defeat the other side, so they're willing to pay.
It's embarrassing because we're of a younger generation, so we're not, we didn't grow up with these movies like some of the filmmakers that we love their movies now. And the fact that I haven't seen this one, and they should have taught this in film school. They should have taught high and low in film school. I don't think I saw one Kurosawa movie in film school.
And I remember this one going down real smooth.
Real smooth. The middle act does get a little more convoluted than I would have liked, because that was one of the things that I like most about this movie is just how simplistic it was. And it was just these two warring factions. They hate each other, and he's just going to use it to his advantage. Right? It's just the evil of mankind having to war with one another.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about so eloquently last week with Indians and Pakistanis.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Pakis.
Brian, you don't say Pakis.
I think you do.
You don't. You absolutely do not.
I was told you do. Buy a Paki.
Brian.
By a limey. Limey
Jesus
told him to
Christ.
say
That's
it.
right.
By a kraut. Did a kraut
A British imperialist.
So yeah, it was framed beautifully. I mean, this is just top quality. This is the Kubrick of the East.
It's a showy movie from a camera work perspective.
Yeah.
Like, the movie is, you got these elaborate landscapes. It's really something to look at.
Goes down very smooth, like Avery said as well. And I felt bad for the guy with the unibrow. I did feel bad for him a few times.
Which one's? Oh, the guy
very
dressed
dumb.
up. Yeah, the dumb brother.
Yeah,
He's the brother, right?
he may have been. I don't know.
No, he was the brother of the lead mercenary, or no, the lead leader.
The gang leader. Yeah, there were some times where, and go make your joke about racism and whatnot. It's black and white. It wasn't the greatest transfer, and some of the stuff is kind of dark. And and they're all wearing the same types of uniforms except for the one guy with the stripes. But it was a couple of the warring leaders. I was going, okay, whose side is he on? I can't remember which guy is that, because they did look fairly similar with the way they were dressed and the black and white. Just like when you watch war films a lot of time, the first time you watch it, if they're all wearing the same fatigues, it's kind of hard to tell which character is which. And I definitely will admit that I had some issues with that with this one.
It's interesting. I thought the transfer was really good, but I watched it on the Criterion channel. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Why don't you sniff at the end of that?
The reason I watched it there actually is because excellent transfers, but also they have cool extra content. Like they had, and it's always random. Like with The Vanishing, they had Bill Hader of all people just describing why he liked it. And then with this one, they had Brad Bird just like going on for 3 minutes. Oh, I thought this was a fantastic.
I would never think Brad Bird when I think Yojimbo.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm sure he parodied it at one time or another.
Was he the Humpty Dumpty Sat on a Wall director? Avery.
Was who what?
Brad Bird. Was he the director of the infamous Humpty Dumpty Sat on the Wall?
I
have no idea.
He directed
I know what he's talking about.
Impossibles, right?
Yeah. But I don't remember Humpty Dumpty. The Humpty. I thought you were talking about an actual movie.
No,
we're talking about the line, the cringy line from Mission
Yes.
Impossible.
Humpty Dumpty Sat on the Wall.
Yeah. Jesus. No, the transfer that I saw was
He is
fun.
not. That was J.J. Abrams.
I knew it.
It was it's black and white, and it's 1961, so
There's only so much you can do.
it's not the cleanest.
Probably a copy for copy.
I don't know about that. All right, Yojimbo, highly recommend if you really want to see where a lot of these things, like Brian and I just suggested, started. The origin of these, a lot of things that we consider tropes. Tropes.
Very enjoyable.
That is Eric
Very
Robbins.
enjoyable, yeah.
What did Eric say about this when you talked to him?
He had nothing to say. Eric and I talked for like 45 minutes this morning because he's one of my producers as well on
So
Loaded for Bear. So we talked about all sorts of stuff, but we talked about Yojimbo as well. And I didn't write anything down that Eric said other than we talked about a lot of the things that you and I just talked about and how many different things it has influenced. And yeah, Eric's great. Eric always has something good to offer and bring to the program.
All right.
All right, so that wraps her up.
Thanks, Eric Robbins, for assigning us Yojimbo. And thank you, Alan Horsari.
Horsari.
Horsari. I'm trying to slip that extra R in there. For Dinner Rush, we appreciate you guys being deciders, assigners.
All three of these movies I completely stand behind and think they're all fantastic. And Bottoms, Yojimbo, and Dinner Rush, completely different movies, all three of them.
I'm intrigued by Bottoms.
And they're all 4-star plus movies to me.
All right,
Yojimbo, of course, obviously, it's just a classic, and you can't help but see how why it lives in the world that it lives in. It belongs there for sure.
There's a lot of moments you'll see where it's like, oh, that's from that movie, or not from. That influenced that movie, and that influenced that movie.
It's really the lead though. How many? I think he's been in 17 of Akira.
Oh, really? He was great.
Yeah. Toshiro Mifune.
Thanks, guys, for assigning us those films. We appreciate you. If you want to assign us a film, join up at our Patreon. It's only 6 months at a certain level, and you can assign us anything you want within reason. But have we ever said no?
Yeah, I think we said no to something.
Something we couldn't find or wasn't streaming?
You realize that the samurai is the same guy that was in High and Low. He was the shoe guy. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's in many of Kurosawa's films.
Yeah, not only he's like the lead in many of them.
He's great. Go to AndersonandBryan.com to see
right.
more about Strange Times and Elephant Rifle. We got 2 feature artists this week.
Yes, one of which is the first one, Strange Times, Mitch's cousin.
Hey.
Mitch's cousin's band. So Mitch wanted a little love.
Nice. Check them out, AndersonandBryan.com.
What's her name?
Strange Times. Mm-hmm. Strange Times. And, of course, our old favorite, Elephant Rifle, also in there. Anderson and Bryan is the TikTok. Anderson and Bryan is the Instagram. The Film Vault on Twitter and Facebook. And, of course, the Film Vault podcast on YouTube, where Eric Gaff maintains our YouTube page. Does a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Eric. We appreciate you. Mike Cole, thanks for tabulating our gambling. Much appreciated. Giovanni, has he sent you an emails lately? I've got an email.
He's been sending me texts. Very long texts.
Good. Keep it up. And, of course, Mitch Burns for apparently providing us with feature artists. Appreciate you. What else? Loaded for Bear Doc?
Yes, loadedforbeardoc.com is where you can go to see this project that I really, really believe in. And I feel like I feel like I'm in the right place every time I'm there, every time I'm working on it. It just feels absolutely right. Goes down smooth. All this, everything that I'm doing with these guys, I love it, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. But we need some help to get there, and I'd love you to be involved and be associated with it. So please check out loadedforbeardoc.com to become a part of it, and every little bit helps. Mike Carano and I are working on it. Just about every day I work on it for at least a few hours, it's coming along. It's coming along.
All right.
And. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, guys. Appreciate you downloading. Appreciate you listening to Summer Recap coming up next. Be on the lookout for that. Until then,
we do it for Van Gogh.